Hello and welcome, my name is Leyzar and today we're talking about Mass Effect Andromeda, the hottest news currently in gaming. So what I want to do is gather my thoughts and feelings on what I've played and kind of relate them to you guys as objectively as possible. A couple of days ago, actually yesterday, Mass Effect Andromeda was made available to the public through Origin Early Access. This is a monthly subscription PS Plus kind of service which Origin provides. You pay €4 or $4 a month, and in these €4 you get a whole bunch of games you can play, and you also get some early access to some new games, some trial periods with new games. This is what happened with Andromeda. Everybody got 10 hours to play, to try out Andromeda for free, theoretically for free, because you didn't have to have Origin access. My thoughts and feelings will refer strictly only to the trial single player. I have not touched the multiplayer because I don't give a damn about the multiplayer. I have played through the main plot, the main story, the main campaign of the game twice, one on male Ryder preset and one on female Ryder preset, and everything I say will apply to that. So with that out of the way, I would like you guys to keep in mind one more important detail. I am a Mass Effect fan, but I am not part of the cult, okay? Keep that one in mind. So everything I say will be as objective as possible. Starting off with the graphics, more specifically environment graphics. The first planet we got to explore, Eos, and of course the inside of the spaceships, the Hyperion, the Nexus, etc. The first planet we got to explore was absolutely amazing to me. I love the whole plummet to your death scene. If you just take a moment there and take a look around at the actual environment, you will see it's absolutely breathtaking. I love the colors, it was full of color, it was full of life. You guys remember those two giant butterflies off in the distance, or moth, or whatever the hell they were? That was awesome. Awesome effects as well, with the lightning striking everywhere, with the poison puddles here and there, with the small puddles of water which had really good reflections to them. So good rendering, good shading, good lighting, good reflections. I have no complaints when it comes to the actual first world. Maybe one small complaint, I would have liked to explore some more, but hopefully we're gonna get to go back there in the full version of the game. When it comes to the inside of the spaceships, it's hard to wow us here, okay? It's hard to show us something amazing because, well, it's the inside of the spaceship. It's not like we haven't seen stuff like this before, but for the most part, again, the shading is done right, the textures are fine, and I love the whole stratification they came up with for inside the spaceship. So all good there. Now moving on to Eos, it's a desert world. It's hard to fuck up a desert world at the end of the day, and I'm happy to say that they did not. Again, good stratification, you got all sorts of ledges, ravines, valleys, you got also a small lake in the middle, that's totally fine. What I can complain just a little about is the water. Then again, the game is meant to run on console smoothly as well, so I guess I can understand. Sorry there, console guys, no offense to you. The desert world looks okay for the most part. I love how the Nomad just rides through the sand and it kicks up a little bit. Looks good. Nothing out of the ordinary. Again, it's a desert world. It would be hard to show us something non-desert-y. Up to AAA standards, the environment from my point of view. Overall, I have no complaints with the environment. However, now we gotta move on into character graphics and their animations. While the characters themselves look okay, the hair detail is fine, the skin tone and details are fine, I love the sweat effects and everything, that looks cool, but the animations simply suck. I cannot put it any other way. If I compare them to another AAA title, let's take The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt as a benchmark to what it means to craft a beautiful and awesome RPG. Okay, that's just my thoughts on it, feel free to disagree. But if I compare animations, there's simply no comparison. The facial animations in Andromeda are simply put bad and jarring. Lip syncing half the time doesn't even work properly. I don't even know what the hell they were thinking. This is 2017 and they came up with almost cartoony like animations. I don't understand it. Also, I have this overwhelming feeling that the eyes on almost any character are too big, especially about the humans. We're gonna talk mostly about humans because when it comes to aliens, you can always argue that, listen, they're alien species, you don't know how they're supposed to turn and etc, etc. Okay, fine, so we're gonna leave the aliens out of this. But talking about strictly the humans, animations are off, especially the facial animations, but not only. From what I've seen, at least from the main characters and main protagonist, everyone moves like a cowboy and has crooked legs. What the hell? Even the females, they walk like they've been riding side saddle for like 2 years straight. What is going on? Were they afraid to being accused by feminists that, oh, unachievable goals and such bullshit? I don't get it. Again, I'm not talking about just the facial animations, which, to be honest, there is no point in defending them. They suck. Simple as that. But I'm talking about straight up movement, moving down a corridor, moving in a conversation, positioning, posturing, stuff like that. It just looks simply off. Is everybody really a cowboy here? I don't get it. So I'm very disappointed in the actual animations. The models are fine, don't get me wrong. Maybe the eyes are a tad too big, but I doubt they're gonna fix that, so it's something we're gonna have to get used to. But the animations, the moving animations, the lip syncing, all of that is bad. Speaking of which, I also noticed some texture popping directly on the face of the main protagonist. There were some times when Sara Ryder, for example, looked like he was made out of goo. Alright, the texture simply didn't pop in. I didn't understand what was going on. And I'm sorry, this is not acceptable in a AAA title in 2017. No, The Witcher did it right in 2015. That was okay. And now we're 2 years later and I'm seeing a worse job done by BioWare. Not acceptable. Moving on into sound, there's not a lot to talk about here, but I will say that the soundtrack does its job just fine. It sets the mood without being overly intrusive. However, it does ramp up during those epic moments. For example, when you see your ship for the first time, when you see the Tempest, there the soundtrack really ramps up and grabs this epic tone and makes the moment worthwhile. Definitely awesome. So no problems with the soundtrack there. Moving on into effects, stuff like blaster fire, pistol fire, shields popping, etc. Everything sounds satisfying and crisp. Accurate to what blaster fire should be, I guess. So I have no problems with the effects. Again, the shields popping are awesome. The actual blaster fire, the grenades, how they pop, or when you hit something like a rock or a wall made of iron. Okay, those sounds are done right from my point of view, so no problem with the combat sounds in general. Now we also gotta talk about the quality of the voiceover, although please keep in mind that I don't believe that these 10 hours are enough to fully judge, not by a long shot. Now for those of you that wanted to play another Shepard, you're gonna be a bit disappointed. You can't really analyze a voiceover and see if it's good or not unless you take into account what is being voiced over. Scott or Sara Ryder will be the main protagonist depending on what way you choose to go. So basically your main protagonist is a defrosted teenager which only had basic Pathfinder training. They're far away from being an actual leader, and the voiceover does reflect that. They're a little bit skittish, a little bit unsure of themselves, and ultimately a tad forgettable. They don't really have any tonality or presence in a conversation no matter what option you choose to select, and that is totally fine. Again, you are playing a Pathfinder in training, the start of an adventure of a potential leader, and again the voiceover does reflect that in spades. If you want to look towards what a voiceover of a leader should be, you gotta look towards Alec Ryder. He was the only one that had tonality, had presence, and ultimately was the only one that stood out to me, and that again fits the bill of the story, and that is totally fine. As for the supporting crew voiceover, I would say is done professionally across the board, with Suvi standing out to me because she's got the most endearing accent in the world. Just keep in mind that we only had 2.5 hours worth of main story time. There wasn't enough time for the characters to grow, evolve, and actually show some personality. Therefore, the voiceover can't really shine either, the two being linked together. Overall, I would call the voiceover competent, yet not exceptional. To me, in an RPG, there are two very important things. One, the gameplay, and two, the story. Can't really talk about the story because mostly nothing has been revealed. The premise is there for a good story, let's just say that. But we don't really have that many details, so we're gonna move on to gameplay. And how is gunplay in Mass Effect Andromeda? Well, for the most part, it's very satisfying. Absolutely no complaints about the actual gunplay. You do also have this awesome shoulder switching mechanic. You just press your alt key and you're gonna be able to switch from left shoulder to right shoulder, which is gonna be extremely useful in combat. From what I played so far, combat is dynamic. You don't just stay behind one wall and shoot at enemies for the entire duration of a fight, which I absolutely hated in the original Mass Effect. And yes, occasionally you just move up, move up, move up. No, here it's actually dynamic, okay? You have those thrusters on your back which you can use to position, jump, evade shots, etc, etc. I absolutely love it. The combat feels satisfying, impactful, nothing wrong with it, with one major exception: the cover system. The brand new cover system sucks balls. I can't put it any other way, because sometimes it triggers and sometimes it does not, for apparently arbitrary reasons. You can hide behind a rock right now, get away from cover, fire a couple of shots from a different angle, try to get back into cover in the exact same place, and it will not trigger the actual cover system. This is weird. This is a bug, and I just hope it will get ironed out. This is the only complaint I got about the combat system. Unfortunately, the cover system is buggy, wonky, sometimes trigger, sometimes it doesn't, for whatever reason. You also got a very interesting loadout system where you can switch between 3 different loadouts, and all of them can be hybrid, or they can just be of one specific talent tree if you so desire. That is absolutely awesome to be able to switch from loadout to loadout during combat, and it will make for some very interesting gameplay. So overall, the combat system, from what I played so far, feels satisfying. It feels a whole lot more dynamic than in Mass Effect 3. Unfortunately, the cover system right now blows, and I just hope they're gonna fix that. If they fix the cover system, then the gameplay should be all fine. Last subject I want to tackle is optimization. How does it work? Now, I should give you my PC specs, right? Okay, Intel i7 4790K, overclocked at 4.5 GHz, 16 gigs of DDR3, GTX 970 video card, and of course an SSD to install the game on. And well, to be frank, with these specs, I could run Ultra without running any recorder and keeping it in full screen, so that was fine. However, I would get constant frame drops. I thought, hey, listen, it's probably because I'm on Ultra. I knocked it down to high, and I would get the same frame drops in the same regions. So I think it's safe to assume that the optimization for the game is not quite there, but I'm confident this can be patched in, so please, BioWare, don't let us down, patch this in. It should also be noted that more mature, better video card drivers from Nvidia should help alleviate this problem. When I launched the game initially, it did tell me, hey, listen, update your video card driver to this version, and I did. And for those of you running AMD cards, sorry guys, I don't have an AMD card to test on. You're on your own with that one. And finally, we reach the conclusion part of the video. And I'm aware that most of you want a clear recommendation. Should I buy or should I not buy this game? But I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to tell you about my experience with Mass Effect Andromeda, the trial 10-hour period which we got through Origin Access. Didn't receive any review code, didn't receive any special treatment or benefits from EA. What I can tell you, however, is what I do when I'm interested in a game. I look at multiple reviews, I gather the facts, I form my own opinion, and based on that opinion, I make a decision. So there you go, boys, why don't you try doing the same? As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you again next time. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye.